Coming up next on Parent Connection, a conversation with the Office of Equity and Accelerated Student Achievement. Welcome to Parent Connection. Today we have our guests from the Office of Equity and Accelerated Student Achievement, Anthony Austin and Becky Scow. Now, tell us about what your titles are first and a little bit about yourselves.
So I am currently the Executive Director of Equity and Accelerated Student Achievement. This is my 19th year in the county. Married with 2 children. I have a 6th grader and a 3rd grader, and we live in Anne Arundel County. So they've gone through Anne Arundel County Public Schools for their entire academic career.
That's great.
And I'm Becky Scow, and I currently am the Senior Manager in the Office of Equity and Accelerated Student Achievement. And like Anthony, I've spent the vast majority of my career in Anne Arundel County, a lot longer than Anthony.
Just a few years.
Just a few years. And I have 3 children, all of whom went through Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and I am thrilled to be here with you today.
Well, tell us a little bit about your office and what the mission is and the work that you're doing.
So the mission is really simple. We have over almost 80,000 students in our school system. We have over 10,000 employees. We have 12 feeders, but we have one mission. It's to elevate all students and to eliminate all gaps. And so we're really trying to work diligently with schools, with all corners of the offices in the county and the school system, support on what can we do to limit the achievement gap, to ensure that all students are getting the highest quality of learning and that we're eliminating all gaps wherever they exist.
And in the beginning of the year, Anthony perfectly said in one of our first meetings that we are an office of service and support. We support schools, we support students, we support families, and we support the community.
And I think that's really important. And the other thing that was important about how you are working with every other group in the county, every other office, and so that we're all doing, like you said, we have one mission and everyone should be working to that mission.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about how you support schools. What are some of the things you're doing now for that?
You want to start?
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
I think one of the main ways that we support schools is through the school leadership teams, whether it's the school improvement team, whether it's the actual leadership team. We work hand in hand with them to support them in implementing their school improvement plan, which of course addresses the gaps and the needs to increase student achievement. We do that with the Office of School Performance as well.
So we also have in every building an equity liaison. And so we provide professional development for equity liaisons so they can support the schools and the schools' efforts to, one, support the strategic plan as well as the school improvement plan, but to eliminate all gaps. And as Becky was sharing, we meet with all principals at the level of principals meetings. We meet with all of the assistant principals, new and established assistant principals in their meetings as well. So really trying to ensure that we're touching all individuals within the school system.
And that's really how you're supporting the leadership within the schools?
Absolutely.
And I think that is important. And you know, when you're in schools, there's so many things that are happening, you know, things coming from you all directions. So to have someone else to count on and just knowing that you have support here at Central Office, I think is really important. And one of the things that I know our office has really been happy about is to see how you are out in the schools all the time. And I know the schools really are seeing that and appreciating that support.
I think one of the things that we did that was really crucial in the beginning, we went to the school of every first-year principal and established a relationship. And we kind of took turns working with different ones of them and have established some real long-term relationships, helped guide them.
And with both Beck and I both being former elementary school principals, we remember being that first-year principal. Right? And we remember everything swirling, right? Because it's the fast and the furious and you're in that new position. And just knowing that you have someone that's there offering support.
Right.
You know, you may not know what you need right now. You may not know what you need yet, but it's going to dawn on you, oh my gosh, I need help with, we're here. Whatever you need, don't hesitate to call.
And that is, like you said, that knowing that just kind of, eliminates their anxiety a little bit. You know, they can breathe and say, okay, somebody, there is a phone call. I have a person's phone number I can talk to. Now, how are you reaching out to the community and parents? What are you doing with that?
So we've held an open house at Annapolis Elementary School to introduce the community to our new office. We also meet with a variety of parent groups such as CAC and PTA to support through there. We also have gone out to different schools per request and done some parent workshops to supporting them in establishing their parent workshops or assisting in presenting for those.
That's wonderful. Now, what are some of the partnerships? You mentioned partnerships before and relationships, and we all know how important that is. But what are some of the ones that you've formed this year?
I think we could start by talking about internal partnerships.
Yes.
So I mentioned the Office of School Performance. We work really closely with them. Curriculum and instruction, we've been fortunate enough to be part of the kindergarten, first grade curriculum kind of development and rollout.
Right.
So that's been great. We've formed a strong partnership with your office. Who am I missing?
If there's a corner, we support them.
Exactly. If there's an office in a corner, we've been working with them because we know that, you said it perfectly, if we don't all have the same message, if we're not all working the same path, then it's really not going to yield the results we want.
Okay. And how about any other external partnerships? Of course, you did mention the parent groups.
Absolutely.
And I know that they really have appreciated you coming out, people from your office, talking to them, sharing your mission, and then some of them actually have formed their own little subsidiary groups, and you have people in your office on those groups, and that has been very meaningful to them because they want to support. You know, a lot of times there are groups out there that really want to support us. They just don't know what to do, and that's kind of our job to help them with that.
Absolutely. We've also begun partnerships with the community college, looking at ways that we can support through the vast amount of knowledge that they have. We also have our OCR advisory group. They meet with them on a monthly basis. And then wherever we can find individuals that are willing to partner and support in doing the work, such as the Housing Authority, whatever agencies there are, we're willing to partner up. The Community Action Agency with Head Start, we're willing to partner up and link arm in arm because we recognize that it's not just the work that we do, it's the work that we all do collectively. That's how we eliminate gaps.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't want to forget the Blue Ribbon Commission.
Yes.
Because the work that Anthony especially is doing with the Blue Ribbon Commission is really doing a fabulous job of informing our work and I think everyone's work in the school system.
And that commission is made up of people all throughout the county and state levels.
Absolutely. Internally and externally. We wanted to have a group that had a vast knowledge of education and instruction, but we didn't want to only deal with individuals that are internally. We wanted external resources from different counties, from other agencies who had knowledge of instruction, who could look at our practices and see, well, what are some things that we're doing really well, what are some things we need to look to improve, and how should we move forward in improving those.
And I think that does speak volumes that we realize there's always ways to improve, and we certainly don't have the golden ticket on everything. So hey, if someone else has something that's working, let's learn from that and get that experience. And I think that commission is really doing a great job with that. So talk to me a little bit. Someone mentioned equity liaisons before. So tell me a little bit more about them and what their role is, what they do specifically.
Every school has an equity liaison, a person that the principal and hopefully their leadership team came together and selected. And that person really is charged with being a member of the leadership teams and really always keeping in their mind's eye issues of equity. So who isn't quite making it yet? What student groups? What individuals? What does behavior look like? And then providing the school with lots of ideas and resources and professional development. We pull them together 4 times a year and provide them with really a day-long intensive and engaging professional development on different topics. And then there's specific professional development plans they take back to their schools based on the needs of their schools.
So other scaffolding of support that's so important there.
Absolutely.
So I've heard a little bit about a conference that you're doing with special ed. So what is that?
Yes.
When is it? What's going on
So
with it?
August 13th will be our conference, and the title of the conference is Unlocking Potential. And we're really looking at how can we support our schools in unlocking the potential of all of our students in our efforts to eliminate the achievement gap. So we have a keynote speaker, Pedro Noguera, who will be there and leading us in our discussions and our efforts. And we're asking all schools, of course, to be present, but we're looking at presenters from within the county because we have so many resources within our county. We have so many experts in our buildings, and really looking at how can we unlock their potential as well to share the knowledge that they have with all of our schools so that we can benefit from the wonderful things that are going on in isolation in some schools to grow that and expand
Right.
that and bring that to scale.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
We are excited. We have a great committee that's doing the planning, and they come together on their own time after the end of the school day to really pull it together and come up with great ideas.
Well, I know how much work is involved in doing a conference, but I think, like you said, that's really going to strengthen our employees and give people more tools for their toolbox when they go back to the school. So that's really great. Talk to me. I've heard a lot about Room 203, but tell us and our listeners, what is Room 203 and how does that work?
Okay. So we got Room 203 actually from the movie The Freedom Riders. And in that clip, there's a young man who is dealing with life circumstances. You know, his family was evicted from home, and he did not want to come back to school. He was embarrassed. He was scared of how people were going to treat him. And when he did come to school and he looked on his schedule, he realized that he had Miss G for English in Room 203. And he said that he felt like he was home. And so we realized that every student needs a Room 203. A room where they feel that they're connected with the adult in that room, that person cares about them, loves them, is interested in the very best for that child, and is committed to ensuring that that child reaches their best. No exceptions, right? And so we worked on ensuring that every school transformed every room into a Room 203. Because not only do the kids need it, the adults need it. Everyone
Right.
needs a spot where you know that you're safe and you're loved and you're cared about and someone has your best interest at heart.
And we issued the Room 203 Twitter challenge to principals, where they had to tweet back ways they were working to transform their school into a school of Room 203s. And equity liaisons, we really took the notion and put it into practice with different structures and practices to use, and also continued to try to make it sustained throughout the school year. And we'll be bringing it back for next year.
And I think that if we all think back to when we were in school, usually you did have one person, or hopefully everyone did, I know I certainly did, one teacher that you may have connected with
Yes.
more, and that is what, especially our students that are struggling, whether it's home circumstances or whatever the situation may be, to know that there is a caring adult who does truly love them and does believe in them. That's so important to have somebody that believes in you.
Absolutely.
So I really commend you on that. I think that whole concept is so great. And I would think of the teachers that are out there when you're going out and delivering the professional development, all of them want their room to be 203.
Absolutely.
So
So
hopefully
true.
it's even a challenge within the school.
Yes, yes, I think it is.
So I want to hear a little bit also about growth mindset. First about the initiative, but still just educating people on what is growth mindset, first of all, because I know a lot of people that will hear that won't necessarily know what that means.
Sure. I guess I would take 2 decades of research and kind of synthesize it into a sentence or two, and that is that through this research, psychologists have learned that your mindset about your potential and about your actions greatly shapes how you perform. So if in fact we equip students with a growth mindset, the belief that we are always learning and growing, that we have somewhat unlimited potential, and that if we work hard, if we have support, if we really put our mind and our back to it, we can do anything. is what we mean when we talk about growth mindset. So we've put that in, embedded that in all the work we've done this year with our equity liaisons, with our principals, when we go out into schools and do professional development. And I think one of the things that we saw initially was just what you said, that people go, oh, it's this idea out there, but there are really great specific practices you can use. So the second half of this year, that's been our big focus, getting these specific practices, things like process praise, you know, not saying to someone, oh, you're so smart, but instead saying, I really am impressed with the way you took that tough problem and you didn't give up and you navigated your way through it. And then also helping kids understand the connection between effort and achievement. So you have a rubric that shows, well, I worked really hard and I got it. Or I didn't get it, but look, I really didn't work very hard. Maybe if I worked harder, I'll get it. And a few other things. So we're pretty excited about it. It seems to be taking hold and really helping kids.
We made sure that we made the connection between Room 203 and growth mindset. Because if we really cared about our children, we really wanted the best for them, we ensure that we don't have a fixed mindset, but we have a growth mindset and believe that just because our students may not have done well on a particular thing in the past, it does not mean that they can't do well on that in the future. And the power of yet, right? So you may not be able to read that text yet, but you will, right? You may not be able to solve that math problem yet, but you will. So not only does it give kids hope, right, but it reminds the teacher to stay in that mindset of the fact that we all grow, we all learn, right? You know, you think of the very best basketball players. How many times have they missed a shot? But yet they don't stop. They don't give up. You keep going, and we want our students to have that same perseverance, that same tenacity, that same grit, that it's okay if I don't get it yet. I need to keep working. Keep working at it. Don't give up, and it will happen.
And I think words really do matter, and that's one of the things when we've been doing some things with our parents this year at our conferences, that's some of our keynote speakers have really emphasized too. Don't always say to your child, it's not, your child's self-esteem is not built by you just saying, oh, you're so wonderful, you're great, but praising the action that they do.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, and then all of a sudden, if you constantly are just saying, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart, and then they come up with something that they can't do, all of a sudden they get that feeling, I'm not smart, I can't do that, I'm not good in math, whatever the situation may be. But to really work with parents to say, praise the actions that they're doing. And I think, as a parent, I really wish I had known that earlier, because I think you do, everybody's trying to do their best, but just praising the person over and over doesn't really build that self-esteem and doesn't give them that tenacity to keep going. And that, I think, is really that growth mindset that so many of us, even educators, need to hear and need to really figure out how to put into practice on a daily basis.
It's a conscious effort to make the shift. So when my son brought a grade home the other day, I had to make sure I had to give that. I loved how hard you worked on this assignment. I know it wasn't easy, but you kept working. And look, you got an A on that. I'm so proud of you for working so hard. And changing, as opposed to saying, oh my gosh, you're so smart. Look, you did it, right? I had to really be conscious about my words.
And I know that because if you see an A, you know, typically you say, yay, great, good job. But if you see a C, you're not going to see those same words. But instead of looking and saying, oh, well, look, I see you did this really good. You really addressed this question great. And I bet you had to work really hard to get that one. Wonder what we could do to do the other two. And that's just something that we have to, that message just keeps having to go out. Our office to parents, you to community members, teachers, administrators. Those are the kinds of things that I think we all want to do it if we hear it, but we just have to keep it in the forefront of our mind. And how do we do it?
And I think that's one of the need for that constant information going out and giving people tools so they can stop and reframe and rephrase is one of the reasons why we started in January putting out a monthly calendar for schools that give them ideas on how to, in fact, implement growth mindset, Room 203, And the calendar has hyperlinks, so they can go right to a video or right to a rubric that they might find helpful. And I personally feel, I don't know if, I think Anthony would probably agree too, that it's made a huge difference. Every meeting we go to, everywhere we go, people go, oh my gosh, that calendar, I put it in my weekly update. Oh, we do something from it for at every faculty meeting. So, you know, you like when you hit on something that helps people. And I think that's helped.
And I think the calendar sounds like a great idea because, like you said, if it's in front of you, you're sending it to them. I don't have to create it. And I can not only see a suggestion, I can click on a link and take me to it, or a video. Those are things that I think we all try to do here, but we all don't always come up with the greatest ideas. So if you have those ideas, and it is wonderful to hear schools telling you, this is something I'm using on a regular basis. Wow, that's powerful.
Right.
The fact that it's a daily resource, you know, something available for them every day if they need it, right? Not something cramming down your throat, but it's there for you to use. And maybe you didn't use it in January and you need some more ideas. Well, go back to the January one. You know, just because it was in January doesn't mean you can't use it in May.
That's right.
Right? And some things are so good you just need to recycle them and do it one more time, right?
Right.
That's right.
So are there other initiatives that are going on in your office, or other things that you're doing on a regular basis that maybe new we weren't doing before?
So we started in our Read With Me challenge, in which we really encourage individuals to read with their children. Right? We partnered with the public library. We had a Twitter challenge going on where people were just tweeting pictures of themselves reading with their child. And we're actually continuing that over the summer with the public library. The public library already has a wonderful summer reading program, and they've added to that list, Read With Me. So over the summer, the library is encouraging parents to take an opportunity to just sit down, read with your child, and tweet that picture. So that's one of the additional things that we've been working on.
And one other thing that's going to happen in the summer, and it's kind of at the beginning stages, but it's pretty exciting, is partnering with Food Services, who, as you well know, provides meals for students all over the county in the summer. So we've been working with Kathy Gillette and Media Services, and we kind of are coming up with a title, a theme that is Feeding Minds and Feeding Bodies. And so we're going to have books there.
Wonderful.
We're going to have media specialists at these sites to read with the kids, to help them choose books. So I'm really excited.
That's really exciting, because we know that, you know, if you're not continually doing it, you can lose some of that momentum that you have going. So that's really exciting. I like hearing about that. And the Read to Me, I think I've heard parents mentioning that, how they think it's so powerful, and they're so glad to see something. A parent just contacted me recently about that and said, kind of along the same lines you're talking about, what can we do to have these portable libraries at our schools, and some of our schools actually have those in place. What kind of facility could we use that we could put books into them, and students that may not be able or be close to a public library could go and get them. And we were talking about brainstorming some things. Let's use it as an Eagle Scout project. Why don't you talk to the Boy Scouts and see if that's something that they'd be interested in building. And they had some ideas too.
You are right in our heads. It's like you've got a spy camera in our office. So we also are working on a project called Little Free Libraries, right? And that is exactly what you just talked about. We've partnered with Chesapeake Science Point, as well as Phoenix Academy, as well as the Boy Scouts for some Eagle projects, in which they're building little free libraries. And we've also partnered with First Book. And so in these little free libraries that are being built, they're going to be placed in locations where students may not have accessibility to books in their home or easy access to the public library. They're able to go to the little free library, open it up, and take a book, right? And that book is for them if they want to bring it back and pick another one, or if they happen to keep it, that's okay. But the intent is to get books in kids' hands. There's so much research that correlates the number of books in a children's home to graduation, to reading, success in schools, the number of vocabulary words that a child knows. So looking at how can we get more books into the homes of children. So absolutely.
And that sounds great. I love those ideas on doing that too. And I think the more, like you said, the more we can do it, and the more you start something, it starts someone else thinking about it,
Yes.
and we can all grow off those ideas. But I didn't even know that you were doing all of this. So that
Telling
is
you, got a spy cam in the
wonderful.
office.
That is wonderful.
Know
And
what they
we're
say
thinking
great
about
minds.
the same thing, our mobile meals, as we go out to mobile meals, and we started last year adding to our mobile meals sites, actually giving weekend food for some of the students who really need it, and hopefully we can find a partner, and I might have a few ideas on that, to put books into those, so every weekend they get some type of
See, that's
new book.
wonderful. What a great idea.
Wonderful. Also in our office, we have Title I. Title I is a part of our office as well. So as we look at where our Title I summer school programs are going to be, where, like Becky said, the mobile food, making sure we have those media centers open during the summer, so students, again, have accessibility to books. For those who can't make it to the public library, that's okay. We at least for the month of July, will have other opportunities for students to get books.
Which is huge. I mean, I think that from a person who lived in a rural area and depended on a bookmobile, I mean, to have the books right there where you can go and get them is wonderful. Well, we've really enjoyed learning about your office. I know you're just out there all the time doing anything. We had a hard time even getting you in here for this because you truly are busy, and I think everybody realizes that too. But if people do want to get up with you, how can they contact you?
Well, we have our website, and they can reach that through aacps.org under the parent section. We also have a Twitter account, and they can be accessed through aacps.org as well.
Okay. Well, I really, again, thank you both for coming and sharing all of these wonderful ideas. You're doing lots of work. We really appreciate it. And we're hoping that more people see that. They'll have more ideas, and they'll contact you. And that truly is how we get better. So
That's right.
Absolutely.
I'll let you, we'll end this, Anthony, with you telling us the mission one more time.
Absolutely. Elevate all students, eliminate all gaps. We have over 80,000 students, 10,000 employees, but one goal. That's it.
And thank you for joining us on Parent Connection. Until next time.
Coming to a library near you this summer, every hero has a story. Be a hero. Read. This summer, all 15 Anne Arundel County Public Library branches will be featuring our free summer reading club. Everyone of all ages is encouraged to sign up so the fun can begin. Why do we plan a summer reading club every year? It's the time of year when the kids are out of school and families are wondering how to keep their children from saying, "I'm bored." Happily, AACPL is gearing up to provide fun, interesting, and educational programs to help keep children of all ages and their families engaged. Heroes of all kinds will be present in our programming and special activities to encourage reading and learning while having fun. Now for the fun! You can sign up anytime between May 29th and August 8th. You may win tickets to an Orioles game or to the Maryland Science Center. Everyone 15 and younger will receive a ticket to a Bowie Bay Sox game. You will go on a scavenger hunt to find community heroes scattered throughout each branch. When you solve the puzzle, you will win a prize. You can keep count of your reading and other activities on an activity sheet and win a prize at the end of the program. You can attend special superhero events at each branch. You can attend programs by our super performers, Eco Adventures, The Yo-Jo Show, and magician Joe Romano. You can attend family-friendly concerts with Cantere, the Milkshake Duo, Rock Creek Steel Drums and the Geckos, or the Rob Levitt Trio. Remember, when you register, you will help your school be eligible for the Chesapeake Cup. Check our library website or come into any library branch and pick up a copy of Library Happenings for times and locations. Every hero has a story. Be a hero. Read.
Hi, I'm Wiley Baker. Sports abound here in Anne Arundel County. Join me for another edition of Athletes in Action later today, right here on AACPS TV.